Before next-day delivery and endless shops, people lived in a world where every possession mattered. Each item in the home, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, was cherished and maintained with care. There was a deep awareness that resources were limited, and that every object had a story, a purpose, and a future beyond its original use. Each pot, shirt, and tool was hard-won, so discarding anything, even if broken, was unthinkable. Instead, people found ways to extend the life of their belongings, patching, mending, and adapting them for new uses. The idea of simply throwing something away was foreign. Every crack and tear was an opportunity for ingenuity. Making do wasn't just thrift, it was a vital skill, a way of life. Children learned from their elders how to sew a sturdy patch or fix a broken handle, passing down knowledge that was as essential as any trade. These skills fostered resilience and creativity, turning necessity into a source of pride. Repairing was creative necessity, keeping households running and resources in use. Every repair was a small act of defiance against waste, a way to stretch what little they had. The act of fixing something was not just practical, but also deeply satisfying. A moment to connect with the past and invest in the future. A chipped jug became a plant saucer, a split hoe got a new handle. Nothing was wasted. Broken objects were reborn with new purposes, their flaws embraced as part of their history. This resourcefulness was woven into daily routines, shaping the rhythm of home life. The home was a workshop, its occupants skilled in restoration. Tables doubled as workbenches, and evenings were often spent in quiet industry, mending, tinkering, and teaching the next generation. These shared tasks built strong bonds and a sense of accomplishment. The sounds of daily life included mending, sharpening, and crafting. The gentle scrape of a whetstone, the rhythmic hum of a sewing machine, and the soft murmur of conversation filled the air, creating a comforting backdrop to everyday existence. This wasn't quaint nostalgia, but a sustainable way of living with deep respect for materials. People understood the true cost of things, and their choices reflected a commitment to stewardship and care. Their way of life offers lessons for us today, reminding us that sustainability begins at home. Every object bore the scars of repair, a testament to its value and the care it received. These marks told stories of perseverance, resourcefulness, and love, echoing through generations and reminding us that making do is not just about survival, but about honoring what we have. In a time when every garment was valued, clothing was precious, crafted to endure, and lovingly repaired when wear and tear inevitably set in. People didn't simply discard a shirt or a pair of socks at the first sign of a hole. Instead, they saw each repair as a way to extend the life of something meaningful, a testament to both resourcefulness and care. Darning was the go-to solution for holes in socks and jumpers. This technique involved carefully weaving new threads into the fabric, restoring not just the look, but the strength of the garment. The process could be slow, but it was a meditative act, and the satisfaction of seeing a hole disappear beneath your hands was its own reward. Matching the thread and fiber was important for a seamless repair. Most households kept baskets brimming with saved yarn, fabric scraps, and odd bits of thread, each piece a potential patch or reinforcement for future mending. These collections were often handed down, growing richer with every generation. Tools like darning eggs made the job easier, holding fabric taut for neat, even stitches. A darning egg, often made of wood or porcelain, was a staple in many homes, and using it properly was a skill in itself. It allowed for smoother repairs and helped maintain the shape of socks and sleeves. Mending wasn't just for holes. Elbows, knees, and seams were often reinforced before they wore through. Patches were sewn on with care, sometimes in contrasting fabric, turning a weak spot into a badge of ingenuity. Preventative mending was a sign of foresight and good management. Collars and cuffs, which saw the most wear, could be turned, carefully unpicked and reversed, to double a shirt's life. This clever trick was a common practice, and a well-turned collar was a mark of skill. Every part of a garment was managed as a resource. Buttons, zippers, and even linings were saved for future use, ensuring nothing went to waste. Old clothes were often deconstructed, their usable parts set aside for new projects or repairs. Mending was woven into the daily rhythm of life, often done by firelight in the evenings. It was a time for quiet conversation, shared stories, and the passing down of skills from one generation to the next. The gentle click of needles and the soft glow of the fire made the work feel almost ritualistic. Children learned by watching and doing, their first stitches a rite of passage. Under the patient guidance of parents or grandparents, they practiced on scraps, gradually gaining confidence and pride in their growing abilities. Far from being a tedious chore, mending was a mark of good management and pride. A neatly repaired garment was something to show off, a visible sign of care and capability. A well-mended garment spoke volumes about the person who wore it, thrift, skill, and a respect for the things they owned. Each patch and stitch told a story of resilience and resourcefulness. The act of repair was woven into family life, connecting generations through shared work and tradition. These moments built bonds and created memories that lasted far longer than any single piece of clothing. Every stitch was a small act of stewardship, a way of honoring the past, caring for the present, and preparing for the future, one thread at a time. When darning wasn't enough, patching took over. Patches, cut from worn-out clothes, covered holes and reinforced weak spots. Rag bags held fabric for future repairs. Nothing was wasted. Sometimes patching became decorative, as in Japanese boro, where layers of patches told a garment's story. Visible mending celebrated repair, turning flaws into features. These techniques extended beyond clothing. Sheets, towels, and curtains were patched and reworked. Sides to middle repairs on linens gave them new life. Every scrap of cloth was used until it was dust. Repair blurred the line between necessity and craft. The goal: keep every textile in service as long as possible. Mending was both practical and creative. Repair extended to every tool and household item. Sharpening blades was routine, keeping tools safe and effective. Broken handles were replaced, not the whole tool. Wood was shaped to fit, metal heads reused. Even broken handles became kindling. Buckets and barrels were soaked, tightened, or sealed to stop leaks. Pottery was glued or stapled together, sometimes visibly, to restore function. Chairs were re-glued, brooms rebristled, and window panes replaced with salvaged glass. Every repair reflected deep knowledge of materials and construction. Nothing was thrown away lightly. The home was a place of constant maintenance and ingenuity. Repair was about understanding how things worked and making them work again. This practical wisdom kept households running and waste to a minimum. Some repairs needed a specialist, the tinker. Tinkers traveled from village to village, soldering pots, patching kettles, and retinning cookware. They salvaged scrap metal for patches, wasting nothing. The tinker was a vital part of the community's repair ecosystem. His work kept valuable materials in circulation and reduced the need for new purchases. Tinkers bridged the gap between home repairs and specialist skills. They embodied resourcefulness and kept the chain of sustainability strong. Thrift was more than just a practical habit. It was a deeply held moral value, woven into the fabric of everyday life. People didn't see thrift as a sign of poverty or lack, but as a mark of wisdom and self-respect. The old saying, "Waste not, want not," wasn't just a phrase. It was a guiding principle that shaped daily choices, from the kitchen to the workshop. Every item, no matter how small, was treated with care and intention. In a world where resources were often scarce, people learned to value and maintain every object they owned. Tools were sharpened, furniture was oiled, and even the simplest household items were kept in good repair for as long as possible. Throwing away something that could be fixed was unthinkable, almost like tossing money out the window. Repairing and reusing became second nature, a quiet act of stewardship and responsibility. Ingenuity thrived in this environment. Old blankets were transformed into warm slippers, broken pottery found new life as part of sturdy cement, and everyday objects were repurposed in creative ways that stretched the imagination. Children grew up watching their elders repair and reuse, learning these skills not through formal lessons but by participating in family projects. Resourcefulness became a shared value, passed down from one generation to the next. This culture of thrift encouraged not just frugality but also creativity and problem-solving. People took pride in finding clever solutions to everyday challenges, often working together to invent new uses for old materials. Every repair was a lesson in respect, for the labor that created each object and for the materials themselves. Careful hands stitched, sanded, and mended, honoring the story behind every possession. These skills and attitudes were shared informally, woven into the routines of daily life. Families worked side by side, passing on knowledge through example and shared experience. Thriftiness was a source of pride, a visible sign of good management and care for one's home. People celebrated their ability to make things last and took satisfaction in a well-maintained household. The culture of repair was more than a personal virtue. It was a foundation of resilience. In times of hardship, neighbors came together, helping each other rebuild and recover. This spirit of thrift and repair shaped not just individual households, but entire communities, creating bonds of trust, cooperation, and shared purpose that endured for generations. The Industrial Revolution changed everything. Mass production made goods cheap and plentiful, undermining the old repair culture. Buying new became as affordable as fixing old. Convenience and novelty replaced durability and thrift. Disposable products and planned obsolescence became the norm. Repair skills faded as consumerism took hold. The ragbag disappeared and the tinker became obsolete. Waste, once shameful, became routine. The story of objects shortened from years of repair to quick disposal. Today, the throwaway culture's consequences are clear: landfills, pollution, and resource depletion. A new movement is reviving repair, from repair cafes to online tutorials. Visible mending and the right to repair challenge planned obsolescence. Repair is becoming a creative, eco-conscious act and a form of activism. People are rediscovering pride in fixing things and valuing their belongings. The goal isn't to return to the past, but to blend old wisdom with modern life. Repair means thinking before discarding, asking if something can be fixed or repurposed. It's about reclaiming skills and responsibility for our possessions. The lessons of the past offer hope for a more sustainable future. The culture of repair offers a powerful critique of disposability. Every object once held value, of materials, labor, and function. Repair was stewardship, resilience, and pride. The shift to consumerism traded connection and skill for convenience. We lost the art of mending, and the satisfaction it brought. Today, as we face environmental crises, these old lessons matter more than ever. Resourcefulness can be relearned, and restoration brings meaning. The future may depend on our willingness to stitch the world back together, one repair at a time.